Netflix just released their second season of their live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it's about as good as you'd expect.
Well, I love you. But I would have killed you.
Yeah.
Full plot points and characters are omitted, character arcs are stilted, awkward, or just non-existent, and the pacing is slow. But for the sake of this video, I only want to talk about one scene.
I'm Toph Bayfong, and I invented metal bending!
From what I've seen online, people have been harping on this scene in particular for being cringe and embarrassing. And, well, they're not exactly wrong. So I wanted to go back to the original and compare the two. What details were changed, added, or left out? How do those changes worsen the scene? What makes the live-action cringe while the original is cool? One of the biggest differences between these two scenes is the inclusion of Toph's mother. Unlike in the original, in the live-action adaptation, Mrs. Bayfong personally comes to Ba Sing Se after those she hired failed to bring her daughter home. In the same episode, which, by the way, are each around an hour long, we get a lengthy conversation between the two Bayfongs. All that's really said or established is how Toph's mother doesn't understand her, and how Mrs. Bayfong wants to bring her daughter home no matter the cost. Then she ends up drugging her. A+ parenting right there. In the actual scene where Toph metal bends, she's in the same metal crate like in the original show, but this time she's in a carriage with her mother. When Toph wakes up, they have a brief argument, and in that dialogue, Toph comes to the realization that, while her mother doesn't understand her, her friends do. With that realization, she breaks free and, outside of the carriage, announces herself as the greatest earthbender in the world before speeding away. On paper, including Toph's mother in the story, having her be personally responsible for this conflict, sounds like a great idea. I'd even say it's an improvement. But there's one issue here. By having Toph's mother in this scene, it makes Toph's metal bending seem less like a personal achievement and more just a slight against her mother. It boils down Toph's character into simply the rebellious daughter who knows better than her mother. In the original, Toph is a rebellious daughter, yes, but she's also a dedicated earthbender. She's more than just the Bayfong daughter. I think they could have handled this a lot better. I still like the idea of Toph's mother being included more in the story, but the way it's portrayed comes across as shallow and actually takes away from Toph's character. But that's not the only issue with this scene. In the original, Toph being stuck in the metal crate and breaking out is shown all throughout the entire episode, The Guru. There are 3 scenes in total. The first is the setup. Toph tries to trick her way out but fails, showing us that it's not going to be easy for her to get free. The second scene is overlapped with the Guru's teachings to Aang, and it's here where she breaks out. The last scene, the third, is the payoff. Toph is free, traps the mercenaries in the cage, declares herself the greatest, then charges off. In the live action, we get 1 scene. Maybe 2 if you include that conversation between Toph and her mother. You know, the one where she drugs her. But the conflict with the metal crate is boiled down to 1 scene. Toph wakes up, argues with her mother, then metal bends free. Cramming those 3 scenes from the original into 1 actively takes away from the tension and hype. I mean, in that setup scene, one of the mercenaries literally says,
"But even you can't bend metal,"
which plants the idea in Toph's head, but also in the audience's head. We think to ourselves, wait, can she bend metal? Can anyone? And then it makes us sit with that idea. This is one of the reasons why Avatar's magic system, the system of bending, is so ingenious. It has clear rules. You bend your element and that's it. But then the show expands. Actually, waterbenders can bend the water in plants. Actually, waterbenders can bend their own sweat. Actually, waterbenders can bend blood. The same thing is happening here. Earthbenders can bend metal because metal is simply refined earth. And all of that is explained by Guru Patik. In the live action, Guru Patik doesn't exist. They just removed all of that from the episode. And, well, I can understand why. On paper, and even in the show, Guru Patik essentially serves as a living manual. He's an exposition dump. So I can see why the writers felt the need to remove him. Lengthy dialogue to just explain things is bad, right?
But I know who I am. I like to play airball and eat banana cakes and goof off with my friends. That's who I am. Not someone who can stop the Fire Nation. Not someone who can stop a war.
But anyway, I can see why they would want to remove him, but in doing so, they removed the philosophy explained by the Guru, that being the illusion of separation, how all of the nations divide themselves when, in reality, they are the same. Even the elements are intertwined. That's why Toph can bend metal. By removing everything with the Guru and any sort of explanation whatsoever, Toph bending metal in the live action comes across as a deus ex machina, or just a power that suddenly appears because it's necessary to further the plot. The live action does give us a glimpse of Toph's vision of the metal, like in the original, but to someone who has never seen anything Avatar, it still doesn't make sense what's happening. So that lack of understanding turns a scene which should be hype to just bleh. And like I said earlier, the lack of a setup, the lack of a tease, just makes it even more lackluster. Furthermore, the way it's framed in the live action almost makes it seem like Toph unlocks this power just because she believes in herself enough because her friends do. Basically just the power of friendship. How it's framed in the original, Toph metal bending is thanks to her deep understanding of her element. Her blindness, which leads to her seismic sight, aids her in realizing that metal is refined earth and, thus, can be bent. That elevates her character so much more than simply, oh, my friends know and love me, that means I can do anything. That's what makes it so cool. It's because she figures it out. Not just to spite her mother, not just because she believes in herself enough, it's because she's a great earthbender. And now the payoff. In the live action, Toph breaks the metal cage open, much to the horror of her mother. It honestly reminds me of The Shining.
Here's Johnny!
But anyway, the dialogue. We gotta talk about the dialogue. If we compare it to the original, it's really not that different. We still have the whole greatest earthbender in the world line, but before that, the live action decided to include
I'm Toph and I invented metal bending.
which comes across as awkward and rather stilted. It's just the case of stating the obvious that this adaptation really struggles with. Then she breaks out, and you know. Overall, the payoff, especially when compared to the original, is lackluster. You would expect it to be more satisfying, since she's showing off her prowess in front of her mother, the one who never believed in her and saw her as fragile, but it's not. The original, however, well, you sort of have two payoffs. The first, Toph makes a dent in the metal cage, proving that she can bend metal. We get a cheesy line and the scene cuts. In the next one, we get the payoff of Toph defeating the two mercenaries. And it's satisfying. Because 1, she literally traps them in the same metal box they trapped her in. 2, she traps them knowing that no one else will be able to metal bend besides her. And 3, she jumps on top of the box and declares herself the greatest both to them and to the world. Yes, it's a bit cheesy. I'm not gonna say the dialogue here is the coolest in the world. It's not, but it's not supposed to be. Toph is a 12-year-old girl. It's not gonna be super epic. But the reason why it works in the animation and not in the live action is because of the framing. It's because of all the little details I've listed thus far. And it's because the cheesiness of this dialogue is in line with the overall tone of the show, which is adventurous and mostly lighthearted. The live action is going for a more grim, dramatic tone, which makes this cheesy declaration all the more jarring. There are 2 more things I want to talk about here. The first is the music. Unfortunately, I can't play it all because, copyright, but I'll do my best to describe it. In the original, as Toph is analyzing the metal, we have an almost mystical track playing, a track that gradually builds with drums and brass until she makes that first dent. It adds to the wonder of the scene. In the last scene, the payoff, we get a triumphant track with lots of brass and heavy drums. It makes the whole thing feel that much more epic and satisfying. In the live action, the music is lacking. We don't get anything while Toph is having her argument with her mother. Then some slow strings come in that slowly build, but it's kinda strange. The melody is almost dark, not triumphant or mystical. Then the strings cut off when she makes her declaration, and we get some cool percussion. Honestly, I do like the percussion here, it just lacks that punch the original has. I can really only describe it as weak compared to the original. The other thing I wanted to talk about here is how, in the original, Toph actually struggles to metalbend. And this is one of the details I really love from the show. Metalbending visually looks like it takes more effort than earthbending. It's rough and harsh, and you can tell the metal is resisting every time. That's the same in this scene where Toph does it for the very first time. She struggles at first, straining against it, before she just punches, which is a very Toph-like thing to do. But even then, she doesn't break free in one hit. It takes multiple. It takes effort. In the live action, she just pushes, then rips free. Taking away that small detail of her struggling just dulls this moment even more. So, I just spent the past 10 minutes or so harping on the live action. I don't really like just hating on something for the sake of hating. I honestly want the live action to be good. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a fantastic show and doesn't need improving, but a remake could expand it. You could do some really cool stuff, like including Toph's parents more. Or, heck, maybe expanding on energy bending, since in the original that does come across as a deus ex machina. But the live action is just handling it all really poorly, and it sucks. But hey, at least we can learn something for our own creative projects. Specifically, what not to do. I hope y'all enjoyed this breakdown. I'd love to do it with other scenes, so let me know in the comments what other moments you'd want me to compare. I'm already planning on making more videos on Avatar, so consider subscribing for more or checking out my Patreon. For now, that's all I got. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye!